Hello and welcome to the Feminine Forecast for December 2021. She is the star. And if you are new to the Feminine Forecast, I just want to take a moment to welcome you. This is a weekly resource that I put together for lightworkers and healers so that they can show up and align to collective energy and therefore serve with more love and less struggle. I'm Kerin 𝐒𝐿𝐿, your host. I'm a mystic and intuitive guide, and I help and guide and support and celebrate lightworkers and healers, the divine feminine, who want to confidently step forward into their soul's magic and fully serve their soul's purpose. This week on the forecast, we have just for the month of December, which is the energy of the star. So I'm going to share the tarot cards for the month ahead. I'm going to offer you some insight into what we can expect in December in regards to love, light, and healing for the divine feminine. And then if you stick with me to the end, I am sharing my seasonal special. Now, because this is one of the monthly forecasts, this is covering the month of December, I do have some deepening pages if you are interested in diving deeper into these energies and want some supportive practices and inquiry questions. Those deepening pages are available to my newsletter subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, you can do so down in the video description or the show notes, depending on which version you are catching of the forecast. Okay. And I email people. Sometimes people are like, well, I don't want you cramping up my inbox. It's already pretty full. I email once or twice a week, always on Sunday, to let you know that the new forecast is available. And sometimes on Wednesday or Thursday, if I have released a new pick a card or a new offering. I love to kick off these forecasts with a grateful moment from this past week. And this week, I am just so deeply grateful. The universe has brought some amazing people into my life. And one of them is my soul brother, Don Sherman. Last night, I did a hypnotherapy session with him, and it was so powerful and so impactful. And I am just so thankful that he shared his magic with me and that he is so supportive of my light. So that's my grateful moment of the week. Now here we are in the season of the eclipse, okay? And we will be concluding this week with the solar eclipse new moon in Sagittarius. That is going to take place on December 4th. And when the new moon is in Sagittarius, you want to set some intentions for your bigger picture or your full vision that you have for your life. So this is a great time to sit down and really reflect on how far you've come. It's also an ideal moment to really look about where it is you really want to land over the next solar year. When I look at the solar eclipse, I would say, make it over the next year. Where do you want to land? Sometimes with the new moon, I say, let's keep it short. Let's consider just like the next 4 weeks. But this time I say, go bigger, go longer, look at, the whole picture. And then coming up, we have Venus retrograde, and I will be doing a full forecast on Venus retrograde and how to navigate those energies. That begins December 19th, 2021. But just a little, just to have it in your awareness, we are going to start to feel that energy, that shade of Venus, starting to really elevate the energies, really start to show us what it is we are going to want to dive deeper into and sit with during that 6-week retrograde season or period. Okay, now launching into December's energy. For this forecast, I use the Druidcraft Tarot deck by Philip and Stephanie Carr Grom. It should actually say Gom, G-O-M-M. I apologize for that. And then Wisdom of Avalon Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. And these are actually the 2 decks that I used for our Zodiac forecasts over in Member Circle. They are available starting today. So for those of you who are members over there, make sure you look at your sun, moon, and rising and listen to your forecast, because some of those forecasts were actually also inviting you to look at another planet in your chart as well. But I just love these decks. You can find links to them down in the notes. So December 12, December, month 12, year 2021, we break it down and it becomes 17, the star, which breaks down to 8, strength. And if you are not seeing the images, if you are not seeing the cards, I definitely invite you to visit my blog, www.KerinMonaco.com, so that you can see the power that's coming off of these cards for the month of December. Whew, caught me off guard. You know, I create this, and if you're listening, you're going to be like, we don't know what you're talking about. I create the presentation, I create the slides, but this one, seeing them like this really just hit me. Some powerful energy coming in for us. So let's sit with the star for a moment here. This is card number 17. We see this beautiful divine feminine with her 2 containers of water. Now, I think I love the star so much because it is the star of Aquarius, which is my sun sign. But what the star is really expressing to us for the month of December is that age-old saying, as within, so without. In December, the divine feminine is going to start seeing the outer world reflect her inner realm. And it always does. But what's so magical about December is all of the work, all of the healing, all of the diving into your soul, exploring your wounding, finding your light, integrating your shadow, all of that calling in of your energy and really seeing yourself as you truly are is going to be reflected back to you. So your divinity that you have accessed and really allowed to elevate within you is going to be manifesting in 3D, which I think is so powerful for so many of us, well, for all of us. And because of this outer reflection, what it's doing is it's giving us confidence in our future and the ability to continue walking the path as it is laid out for us. And Spirit is laying it out for us. You know, check in with yourself, just notice your signs, your synchronicity, notice the echoes of messages that you have been receiving and follow through with them. Notice if you're kind of dragging your heels a little bit or resisting, and just honor that. And maybe if Spirit is offering you a step and it's very clear, say, I'm a little uncomfortable with that right now. Can we make it smaller? Can we get there a little bit more over time than in one go? Okay. And then as above, so below. The stars are guiding this next wave of healing that the divine feminine is going to be venturing into. Specifically that Venus retrograde, which I already told you about on the previous on a previous slide. Venus retrograde is going to impact the connections that we have in our lives. And sometimes we hear that and we might get a little like, oh, I don't want what's coming. But Venus retrograde is really going to just show us what we need to firm up, maybe what we need to repair. And yes, absolutely, perhaps we might need to let go, but letting go doesn't mean of the entire connection. Sometimes it's just letting go of the toxic or unhealthy patterns within it. Okay, so just be mindful of that as we journey into December. Like I mentioned, we have that solar eclipse, new moon in Sagittarius on the 4th. And we also have that Venus retrograde. So it's going to guide you. Let it. The stars will lead. And the more you come into flow with that, the easier it will be. Now, the star, when we take a look at this card, we see this woman completely and utterly naked, totally vulnerable. And what is going to start happening for many of the divine feminine, there has been so much healing, there has been so much growth that we're taking off our armor. We're allowing our masks to fall off, and we are stepping forward and letting ourselves be fully seen. And that will resonate and that will be expressed differently for everybody. But what a powerful message after lifetimes of hiding aspects of ourselves, our whole self, just kind of giving people a certain part of us. It's all falling away. And if you have done the work and you have accessed that part of your healing or stepped into that part, you're going to really sense that. And you might feel a little, resistance isn't quite the word, hesitant. Like, is it really time? And the answer is yes. Sorry, I had to take a little sip of my tea. So to explore the stars energy a little bit more, offering you a card deepening practice as within, so without. So the first card that you will pull is what has shifted in your inner realm. And really sit with this, because this is the magic, right? Everything starts on the inner plane, and you have worked hard, and you have done, you've sat in the uncomfortable or the discomfort. You've noticed what your gifts are, what your magic is, what your purpose is, and you have elevated yourself into it. So really don't rush this reading. Explore what you have changed within yourself, what has come into alignment. And then that second card that you are going to pull is, how might this be reflected back to me? And remember, we're speaking energy, it's fluid. So it might not, maybe you pull a card and it isn't exactly what you anticipate or what you desire, but just receive it and breathe through it. Now, for those of you who are in Member Circle, remember I mentioned that your Zodiac forecasts are already available starting today, but I also put together a pick a card using this spread for you. And if you're interested in joining Member Circle, you can visit down in the video description. And I think I said that already. I'm sorry if I did. But anyway, moving on, you can join down in the video description or show notes. If you do this spread, please, please, please share them with me. Share your cards with me. You can find me on social media at Lightworker Kerin, or you can send me an email, info@KerinMonaco.com. A couple of weeks ago, I put out a card spread, very similar. I think it was 3 or 4 cards, and we dove into it in Wild Hearted Collective, but I absolutely treasured the messages, the PMs, the DMs, the emails that I got from so many within our community sharing what was going on. So please don't hesitate to send them over to me. I do read every email and every PM. It might take me a little bit of time, but I do get there eventually. So let's journey forward into the card of strength, because this is the root number for December. And again, look at her power. So strength is the card of the sacred heart, the high heart, and we can anticipate high heart activations being especially potent in the month of December. It's supported by the eclipse. It's supported by retrogrades. Just, be mindful of it. It's going to happen. You're going to feel it, and we'll all feel it differently. Earlier in my journey, when these activations came in, I sometimes would wake up out in the middle of the night feeling like my body was vibrating off of the bed and I couldn't stop the shaking. And really, it was because I had so much density. My heart was so closed off at that point in my journey. And the activations were coming in and kind of rattling the heart chakra, rattling my high heart, in order to get me to lighten that load, to open up to unconditional love and to my divinity. And so what I will say to you is that all of these activations that are coming in will support your ascension, and they'll let you know what work it is you still have left to do. It'll let you know your path, your direction forward. So if you do feel like, man, this is hitting my heart and this feels really, really uncomfortable, sit with it. Be with it. Don't judge it. Don't say, oh, I'm not as far along, or I'm far along, or whatever it is. Just receive it. There's nothing to know. It's just an activation. It's just a healing that's coming in, supported by the beings of light and unconditional love. And I will put a little side note here, like definitely, if it lasts for longer than a few hours, it's worth getting some medical support. I just felt like I needed to say that here today. Okay. Now, a deepening practice for you to support these activations that are coming in for you is, how can you regularly show up and clear your heart chakra? So Member Circle and those of you who are in Wild Hearted Collective, this is the ideal time to revisit the heart healing with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene located in Heart Upgrades. Okay. It's available to Member Circle. It's this month, it's always available to Wild Hearted Collective. But, you know, maybe you don't have access to that meditation. Focusing on doing some yoga that's focused on your heart chakra, that's opening up that heart space, and the throat chakra is what I'm being guided to share with you here right now. Yoga, getting a Reiki session, you know, walking in the woods barefoot always does that for me. It helps to clear anything that's dense on my, not just my heart, but on my whole being. Maybe sitting and journaling. Maybe what I'm hearing is maybe just giving yourself permission to sit and cry, to let those feelings that are sitting on the heart chakra, on the high heart as well, out of the system. Okay, so moving into the rest of the strength card, which is card number 8, if I didn't mention that, this is really an opportunity and a call to deepen the connection with ourself, which the star is already inviting us to do. They work hand in hand together. And as we do this, we're going to find within us the courage to face the unknown. Many of us are kind of at this point in our journey where we don't necessarily know what is next. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. But this is an invitation to fully trust in ourself, in our guides, and in our future. Okay, so go within yourself. You have come so far. That relationship you have with yourself is not what it once was, for the better, right? Such a journey we have all been on over the past couple of years. And I feel like December is a little bit of a culminating energy, not just because it's the end of a year, but because we're really working towards the end of a cycle, and it is all coming together. Now, in the Strength card, we see this divine feminine with a wild boar. And this is indicating that we are working at this point with our inner beasts. We have kind of tamed our demons. I don't necessarily love the idea of taming the demons, but I feel like we have integrated our darker aspects. We have done the shadow dance. And again, it's like this energy of it's coming together. Now, I also, so like I said, the deepening practice, regularly clearing of your heart's density, and then the heart healing with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. So 2 different options that you have. You can find your own way, or I do have some practices over in the membership. All right, so what's coming up in love for the divine feminine? We have the Deer card, which is number 22, breaks down to a 4. That might resonate a little bit with some of you. Maybe it's your life path. I know 22-4, I'm a 22-4. So really, as we move into December, we are being guided to really step into and attune to our gentle, loving nature. And the big call was slowing down to be more present in life, which was a part of that seasonal forecast that was released last week. It was a big shout to the divine feminine to slow it down, to slow it way down, and practice that presence. Now, also with love, a big theme in December is going to be balance and fairness within our connections. And I always say that the feminine does tend to lead in connections. But what's very interesting about December is that because of the work, because of the journey we've been on, balance and fairness is a whole lot different. Because we're no longer allowing ourselves to be sold short. We're no longer taking the short end of the deal. We are seeking balance and fairness for ourselves. Gone are the days of people pleasing and making others happy and putting others first, of being selfless in a way that, that's interesting. This is very powerful. Being selfless in a way that can potentially destroy our sense of self. And in December, the feminine is really standing in her boundaries, standing in her power, and allowing for the scales to be even, and maybe even tipped in her favor, if that resonates. So the deepening experience, the invitation from Spirit, was really to take a look at your calendar in December and schedule in some time to disconnect and be present, either with a loved one or even just with yourself. I mean, we should, I don't love that word, but I think scheduling time with ourselves is something that is definitely of benefit to all of us, but perhaps there's someone in your life that could really use a little bit of your time, a little bit of your focus, a little bit of your love. Moving into light. So how can we serve the light? How can we be the light? So powerful. We have the Earth Fairy, card number 27. For many of us, we are entering the actual winter season, but a lot of us are entering that energetically within our mission. And I've shared in the past that 2021 has been like a year-long winter experience for me, and it's not done. I do apologize if you can hear the fire truck in the background. Keeping it real, right? So really what the Earth Fairy is speaking to is saying that it's maybe time to step out of doing so much. And for those of you who have online businesses and are showing up regularly on social media, it might be a time to, it might be, discern, take what resonates, to step out of the spotlight and to go within, to rest, to nourish, to replenish, replenish. And really this energy feels like a continuation of what we got with November's forecast. If you look back at November's forecast, the Divine Feminine Lightworker was really asked to pick one thing to focus on, maybe two, no more than three. And right now, December is a time where if you did that work, you're going to be able to build on that, because by getting into that focused energy, you now have a solid foundation underneath you. And now you can start to expand on it. And a big nudge was to keep it simple, to not overcomplicate, to not journey back into your old ways. So your deepener is to really drop into the heart. Look at what you focused on in November. And if you ignored that piece of guidance for whatever reason, there's no judgment, but maybe sit and say, okay, it's not too late in the game. I can still choose my focus. I can still work with this energy. So choose that one thing you're going to focus on and just say, what is the next step for me in this area? Okay. So in November, personal story, because I put this into practice in my own life. In November, I really focused on the feminine forecast and getting consistent, finding a system that worked for me, that was easy, that was simple, that was fun, that felt aligned. And so now it's time for me to say, okay, I've done that, because I really did. What's next for me? Maybe it's making it better. Maybe it's, there's a couple of other things that are on my mind or on my heart with this feminine forecast and how to grow and expand it. And so it's about staying centered there, staying focused and building on what's working. Sometimes we try to build on what isn't working. And I know I've done that in the past. So now it's like you've focused, you found something that's working, build on top of that. Okay, I wasn't planning on sharing that, so I feel like somebody needed that message. Now healing, so interesting. And I almost read them together because we have the stag here for healing, and for love, we had the deer. So divine matches, divine counterparts. But the spirit was like, no, we can actually keep it separate. We don't need to blend these two messages, which I'm so grateful for and felt so good. Okay. So really in regards to our healing as light workers and as mystics and intuitives and guides, we are getting a big ol' nudge to step forward as confident leaders within our community and with the systems that we serve. So healing this month in December is really about leadership, and all of that work that we've done, now starting to put it out into the world, taking pride in whatever we've created, in our progress, in our growth, in our healing, in our mission, in our businesses, and starting to allow others to experience it. So energetically is what I'm picking up right now from Spirit, is now it's time to energetically open ourselves up to allow more people to see our work, to invite more people to work with us. And this was a channeled deepener, which kind of took my breath away, to be completely honest. If you are a light worker, mystic, and serving others actively, even inactively, you know, I think you can make it work even if you don't have a business or even if you're not providing a specific service. Call in some testimonials from your clients. Simple email. Hey, if you've worked with me, would you mind sending me 3 or 4 lines on how working with me impacted you? We don't do this regularly, right? I know that I don't. So call in those testimonials, get that feedback. You know, I think sometimes we might resist getting that feedback or asking for that testimonial because we're almost nervous about what somebody's going to say, but call them in and then carve out some sacred time, light a candle, and just sit and read them. And as you sit with them and as you read that, I want you to really believe what people are saying about your magic, about your mission, about who you are as a healer. You know, I know that I actually started doing that this week, and I felt myself at times questioning and saying things in these moments. And I'm so glad that I was able to catch myself, because it really was a testament to my own healing. But I caught myself saying, oh, they're just saying that because they're my friend, or they're just saying that because I asked them for some feedback. And I realized that that wasn't the case. And that was the old story. That was the old belief system coming up. And I was quickly able to pivot and clear that and really be with the testimonial and with the words that were shared with me. And it was a powerful experience. And really, if you're here and you're receiving this and you're listening, don't ignore this. Not to sound like, you know, not to peer pressure you, but really don't ignore this deepener. If you only show up to one deepener this month, let it be this one. It is powerful. And listen, you've got the whole month to call them in and to sit with them. All right. So I said that I would share my seasonal special. I know I did share it in last week's forecast, but maybe you want to hear it again. Maybe you are still sitting with the decision, not quite sure, you're on the fence, and I totally get it. So my seasonal special, like I mentioned, I'm not doing a Black Friday sale. I'm not doing the small business stuff. I'm just putting out what feels good, what feels aligned, what excites me. And what excites me is inviting you to join Wild Hearted Collective. This is my monthly membership. It's a space for the feminine healer and lightworker, but I'm inviting you to join it for the year for $555. And if you do, I am gifting you a bonus session, a soul support session with me. This is a one-on-one call where we sit and dive into your path, to dive into your passions and where you want to go. And then we talk about the path, the easiest path, the simple one to get you there. And these sessions are usually $122. And like I said, it just felt really good to be able to welcome you into the membership and then get to give you an hour of time to get some clarity on your path, to get direction and guidance. Something I didn't share last week, this seasonal special is available to new. So if you've never been in the collective, it's available to you. If maybe you were in the collective and you needed to take a break for whatever reason, I got you. Join up and I'm gifting you a session. And to current members. So maybe you have an active membership and you're like, oh man, like I want to join for the year. I want a bonus session. You are very much entitled and welcome to take advantage of this special. Okay. And because $555 can be a big chunk of change at this time of year, and really at any time of year, let's be real. For the first time ever, I'm offering it as a payment plan. 3 payments of $185. They come out once a month. And then at the end of those 3 payments, you get to book your soul support session with me. If you pay it all up front, you get instant access to it. And that is the seasonal special. So with the Wild Hearted Collective, I mentioned it's going through some shifts. In 2021, we kind of did an exploration of all of life. You know, that we did an upgrade initiative where we started with the physical body and we just are concluding it in December with the spiritual body. But in 2022, we are getting fully focused and committed to spiritual mission, service, and spiritual gifts, Whoop, whoop. I'm so excited about it. So if you are saying yes to showing up and serving in 2022, Wild Hearted Collective is going to be able to help you do that with confidence, with ease, and with support regularly, ongoing, and with people who are committed to doing that with you. Wild Hearted Collective is really for the light worker and healer who has a consistent spiritual practice or is ready to develop one. In my own journey and within the journey of those I support, I see a difference with how we show up and serve when we have a consistent practice, when we are committed to our own spiritual journey, our own growth and healing. And Wild Hearted Collective is going to give you access to more tools that will help you develop that and get started with it. It's for the woman who really wants to sit with some like-minded sisters in circle, get support, and be supportive of others. And you really want to be devoted to your own healing, your own growth, your own transformation, and be willing to show up and support others in theirs. It is a space holding community. We do it a lot. I lead that charge. People share what they're working on. People share what's going on with their inner child, their healing. Also, they share their successes, and there have been some big successes. We have books being published by major publishers. We have people self-publishing books. We have women who have just put out their first or started their first Facebook page and are putting out readings every single day. We have women who are showing up and putting out workshops and doing healings. We have all sorts of things. So if you feel like you don't fit in anywhere, we don't ask that you fit in. We don't ask that you conform to a certain way of being or a certain way of life. We just love you as you are. Kind of went on a tangent there. Woohoo. So let's explore what's included within the membership. Like I said, you get instant access to a ton of spiritual tools, teachings, and resources. So there are full pick a card readings, extended pick a card readings that cover just about every single area of life. There are, I think, 20 plus meditations at this point. I have workshops that help you align to your mission, that help you get clear on how to serve it. We have workbooks and just a whole other bunch of things that are fun to explore, fun to sit with, and are going to help you move forward in the direction of your soul. Every single month, we do a live service-centered pick a card. I do this the first Sunday of every month at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in our Facebook group. And listen, if that's too early for you, or if you are across the world and that time doesn't work for you, you can catch the replay. So it's not that you have to be there live, but we are focusing exclusively on mission in 2022. You get access to my community for connection and potential collaboration. So you start to meet people who are doing similar work, and you start to be able to play off of one another, pick their brains, get ideas, share your ideas. And this is also a container. This community also functions, and I shared this on the previous slide. The Wild Hearted Collective also functions as a container for your healing and expansion. My key mission, or my core mission, is to hold space for the healers, the light workers, the mystics, so that they can continue to show up and do the work that they're here to do. So I hold space for you so you can hold space for others. That's how that works. It's a ripple effect, y'all. All right. So is Wild Hearted Collective aligned? Is this what you need in 2022? You know, I would sit with this for a little bit and just consider, if you really want to be something, a part of something that's special and powerful, are you ready and are you willing? And is it time for you to fully step into your role as a light worker? And I say that knowing that your role as a light worker may look very different than my role as a light worker, or somebody in my community's role as a light worker. That is a fluid term, okay? And it's a personal term, whatever that looks like for you. Are you ready to step into it? Are you willing to shine your light and dance in your shadow? So are you willing to step forward, but also are you willing to go within? And then finally, do you feel like you're worthy of making this investment in yourself and in your path? And that's a big one to sit with. It might bring up some stuff for you. I totally get it, but sit with it. I believe you are worthy of the investment, not just financial, but of your time, of your energy. I believe that the world needs you, but I'm going to let you make that decision. I'm going to pull back. I could keep going. And if you are saying yes to every single one of these questions or most of these questions, even if there is that slight hesitation, but you decide, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do it. The links to join are down in the description or down in the show notes. And if you have questions, send them over to me at info@KerinMonaco.com. That is what I have for you. If you like the forecast, let me know. Just some of the simple ways that you can do that. You can like it. So if you're catching it on YouTube, like it, comment, share it with a soul sister, and hit follow or hit subscribe. If you're catching the podcast, you can follow the podcast and you'll get notified when new episodes are released, which happens every Sunday. Or you can hop over and send me a DM or a PM on Facebook or on Instagram. You can always find me. My handle is @Lightworker Kerin. I am wishing you a beautiful December. I am wishing you a beautiful week. And I just love you so much. And I'm so grateful. I will see you next time. Bye.